The 2026 Carabao Cup final between Arsenal and Manchester City was not just a final because these teams are the one in Premier League title race. According to the past, Arsenal's last Carabao Cup was in 1993 when Arteta was 10 years old. Man City's last Carabao Cup was in 2021, meaning that every team was thirsty for it. Let's zoom in deep into match analysis and evaluate what happened and also what coaches said after the match. Stay tuned. It was supposed to be a final decided by brilliance. But instead, it became a story of small moments, quiet decisions, and one manager adapting faster than the other. When Arsenal stepped onto the pitch to face Manchester City, there was belief. Belief that this could be their night. Belief that they could finally overcome the tactical genius of Pep Guardiola. And for a while, it looked real. From the first whistle, Arsenal played with intensity and courage. Their pressing was sharp, their movement confident, and their intentions clear. They wanted control, and for the opening stages, they had it. Manchester City looked uncomfortable. Passes were rushed. Spaces were closed. On the touchline, Mikel Arteta watched as his plan unfolded almost perfectly. But football games are not won in the first 20 minutes. They are won in the moments when everything starts to change. And slowly, quietly, that change began. Manchester City did not panic. They did not rush. Instead, they observed. Guardiola, calm as ever, made adjustments that didn't need headlines. No dramatic substitutions. No obvious shifts. Just small changes? That made a big difference. City began to stretch the game. They moved the ball wider. They targeted areas Arsenal had left exposed without even realizing it. And little by little, the control Arsenal once had started to slip away. The pressing became less effective. The midfield lost its compact shape. And suddenly, there was space that Manchester City knew exactly how to use. Then came the moment that changed everything. A simple cross into the box. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing impossible to defend. But football is often decided by the simplest situations. The ball came in. And Kepa Arrizabalaga failed to deal with it. A small mistake. A big consequence. The ball found the net. And just like that, the game changed. Confidence shifted. Energy shifted. Belief shifted. Arsenal, who had started with such authority, suddenly looked unsure. Manchester City, who had struggled early on, now looked unstoppable. And before Arsenal could recover, it happened again. Another attack. Another cross. Another failure to defend. 2 goals. Same problem. At that point, the final was no longer a contest. It was a lesson. A lesson in adaptation. A lesson in composure. A lesson in how quickly football can turn against you. Arsenal tried to respond. They pushed forward. They searched for a way back. But something was missing. The sharpness. The confidence. The belief they had at the beginning. On the other side, Manchester City played with control and intelligence. They didn't need to rush anymore. They had already done enough. After the final whistle, the reactions told their own story. Guardiola spoke with a sense of pride, even surprise. He admitted that his team's second-half performance exceeded expectations. Not just in quality, but in mentality. They had learned the game as it unfolded. And then, they had taken it. Arteta, on the other hand, faced the reality of a painful defeat. He described it as difficult to accept. A match that started with promise, but ended in disappointment. And then came the question that everyone was asking. Why start Kepa Arrizabalaga? Arteta's answer was simple. It was about fairness. About trust. About rewarding the player who had been part of the journey. But finals are not always about fairness. They are about decisions. And the consequences that follow them. In the end, this was not just a 2-0 victory for Manchester City. It was a reminder of what separates good teams from great ones. Not just talent. Not just tactics. But the ability to adapt. When everything starts to change. Because in football, as in life, it is not the plan that defines you. It is how you respond when the plan fails. And on this night, Pep Guardiola responded better than Mikel Arteta. That is why Manchester City lifted the trophy. And that is why Arsenal were left wondering, what could have been? That's for today. Make sure to subscribe, like, share and leave a comment. Thank you.